Hi everyone, welcome to Go Bad Deli. I'm Chris King.
I'm Alexander Boyd.
Today's our part 2 of the film rundown that we had the prior week, which is actually Marvel and DC. Marvel, has a lot of speculation behind it with a possible Civil War storyline coming up, and DC seemed to kind of fire back, and they opened up the floodgate when they announced their movie slate up until 2020.
Alright, so this is the list I've gotten from GameFAQs.com. We start off with Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice on 2016, Suicide Squad, also 2016, Wonder Woman, 2017, Justice League Part 1, in the end, 2016, The Flash, 2018, Aquaman, 2018, Shazam, 2019, Justice League Part 2, 2019, Cyborg, 2020, Green Lantern, 2020. So that's a very long list. Obviously, they're going for two films a year, one at the beginning and one at the end. So, what are your thoughts?
Well, we'll go down the same way that we did with our part 1. We'll go down each movie consecutively, I guess. So, with Dawn of Justice, with his 2016.
Yes.
It's the first movie. We know Man of Steel is the one that kicked off this whole DCU, right?
Yes.
So, Man of Steel was essentially Iron Man. That is their answer to Iron Man. He's going to be the face of this DC cinematic universe. So, with Dawn of Justice, like I mentioned before, we've talked about it in a previous video, I never really liked the idea of having just 3 movies, to kind of set up this whole Justice League thing, because it's a little bit difficult. Like, it seems like, of course, they're playing catch-up with Marvel, And I know that there's a lot of money to be made today, and they obviously appreciate the fact that, right now this is the golden age of superhero movies, So this is the golden age, and they want to take advantage of that because it will not last forever. At some point, it will have to be kind of, cut. That's it, and then wait a couple of, decade or so before they can just kind of rehash the entire thing over again. So they seem to be, doing this movie slate so they can take advantage of the time that they have right now. So with Dawn of Justice, like I said, it was really interesting before because I figured it was just going to be Man of Steel, Dawn of Justice, Justice League. Yes. And that's what I thought we were getting. And now this just kind of proves me wrong. They've obviously thought this out better than I expected. I still don't like the Dawn of Justice tag at the end. I would have liked to just be Batman v Superman. But, now that we have Justice League Part 2 at the very end, this could actually really lengthen this whole kind of DC cinematic universe so they can really, kind of explore each their character.
Yeah, so this obviously shows that DC is playing catch-up because this is not simply Batman versus Superman, which is what I wanted. I wanted Batman vs. Superman because, I got teased in I Am Legend a long time ago, but then again, we heard all the rumors of back then, their pre-production of Batman vs. Superman way back then.
Yeah, way better.
So now this Batman v Superman, everybody's excited. They're like, oh, it's Batman versus Superman. So it's going to be a Dark Knight Returns. So then we got the full title, Dawn of Justice, and we do see that. This is the beginning. They're already putting Wonder Woman, the rumors of Aquaman, the rumors of Cyborg, what we actually know that he's actually going to be there.
Right.
So it's just, they're obviously cramming so much in this, and it leaves me to wonder, is this actually Batman versus Superman? So I want a lot of that. Hopefully it does still play a big part without the movie running too long.
Right.
But they have a lot of stuff to fill in there. Luckily we do get Batman versus Superman. So I'm excited that we get that, but hopefully that's the focus of the film.
Right.
Hopefully that's the main focus. I know it's going to be a lot of little side storylines, but I want to see them fight. I want to see this big fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right before we move on from this movie, I think I'll just mirror what you said. It's just, as long as they focus on Batman vs. Superman, obviously that has to be, out of the 2 hours, probably 2 hours and 30 minutes will probably be.
That'll be too long.
Yeah, I mean, well, however long it's going to be. But let's say if it's 2 hours, I want an hour 40 minutes of just Batman v Superman. If they have to throw in, a couple minutes here and there, I think, with Cyborg, if they introduce Victor, I don't want to see Cyborg yet, I just want to see Victor. By Justice League, you can introduce maybe like Cyborg or whatever, but I want to, get to know these kind of guys. Same with Aquaman. I want to be introduced to Arthur, when he's, just like a little kind of cameo or something. Nothing too big. I think if anyone's going to get a really big role in this, will be Wonder Woman.
Yes, so I say that.
So what's after?
But before we go on, you also have to remember we have to introduce Lex Luthor.
That's it.
So that's a big part.
Yeah.
And then we got Jesse Eisenberg, who has to show that he can be Lex Luthor. Because if it's just a small thing, like, here's Lex, now deal with it. Yeah. And then we got Batman vs. Superman. And then Lex Luthor, hi guys, I'm going to come fight and they work together. I guess that's
yeah. This is exactly why I said the 4-movie thing would have been better, because it's kind of strange to be like in 2 hours you're gonna have Batman turn from arch enemies to heroes. Like it's kind of convoluted there.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on, the next film that would be the same year will be Suicide Squad. So this reminds me of Sinister Six. So I'm thinking a bunch of bad guys, hanging out and on a mission. So I'm very happy for this. I'm very happy for Suicide Squad. Of course, we have to have Harley Quinn due to the fame that's happening, especially right now.
Yeah.
Deathstroke, a lot of people who didn't know Deathstroke will actually know by Batman Origins, the video game. Then from there, just Deathstroke's awesome. And then we could sprinkle in, I guess, whoever else. We could do the whole Assault on Arkham, that animated movie. So there's like a lot they could do with this. What are your thoughts on Suicide Squad?
Yeah, we've said the exact same thing before. I think a lot of news outlets and stuff are coming out and saying this is the Guardians of the Galaxy. This is not. They're not actually the Guardians of the Galaxy. As you can tell from part 1, we kind of know our stuff when it comes to comic books. We've been long-time readers, long-time viewers of both Marvel and DC, so we've grown up with these characters. So obviously, the first thing that echoed in my mind was Sinister Six.
Yes.
Because obviously Sony and DC know that one of the key elements of cinematic universes are the villains.
Yes.
That is your meat and bones right there. Because everyone knows all these heroes, for the most part already. But the villains are something that we have not been introduced to, and you can't have a strong superhero movie with a really bad villain. Perfect example is Electro in Spider-Man 2.
Yes.
If you have, Andrew Garfield is brilliant as Spider-Man. Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy, brilliant. Dane DeHaan as Green Goblin was, awesome. But you throw in just one screw up of a villain like Jamie Foxx and as Electro, it really takes you out of the movie. It makes you watch like you're watching his audition for the movie, rather. So, I think the key to Sinister Six is I don't usually say this, but you need A-listers. I think rumors have been that they've been approaching Will Smith, Ryan Gosling, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You're going to need those big names because just like Marvel did with Guardians of the Galaxy, which I'm not comparing it to, but they brought in A-listers, and I think the only way that Sinister Six is going to work is if you bring in A-listers, because you need someone to bring these characters to life, and you don't have time to develop this into a movie. If this movie works, there will be a sequel. If it doesn't work, that's it.
Yeah.
So it's crucial that you have A-list actors for that.
Yeah, and a great thing here is that Suicide Squad doesn't have to be the main villains. See, I think that we always get introduced to the same villains over and over again. Like for Tim Burton's Batman, we had Joker, and then here in Nolan's Batman, we also had Joker. Mm-hmm. And so we keep getting introduced to the same villains. Spider-Man, the old one and the new one, we had Green Goblin. It's just that main bad guy, of course, Lex Luthor. So it's nice that we have a chance to actually get like the others.
And you know what? And I'll say, as far as who I want to see in this movie, as far as character goes, I back then I wouldn't have said Harley Quinn, but today, as you said, there's been this resurgence of, especially with females, they love Harley Quinn. So it's just know you don't have to think about it twice. You need Harley Quinn there to be one of the front runners. And then as far as on the side, I will say the Deathstroke, but now I've been thinking about it again. I think he'd be really good for a Batman solo film. So maybe Deadshot, if not Deathstroke.
Oh, cool.
I want to kind of see it mixed up a little bit. It's really typical, those kind of guys. But like I said, I want to see Hush. I want to see Deadshot. Harley Quinn, and then I don't know. Like I said before, someone really big, Bane or whatever, something like that.
We'll see. I would like to see Hush in the next Batman film, like a standalone.
Yeah,
Batman.
that could be really good.
He could carry his own. Just like Deathstroke.
The question is, usually someone is pulling the strings for Suicide Squad. Is who's going to be that villain here? I think they're going to keep him anonymous for the most part, but I think that would be the perfect way to introduce the Riddler.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It's been time that we need to see him. As much as I like Jim Carrey's take on it. It was really funny, but I want to see another like a Riddler from Batman Beyond. That's the kind of Riddler I want. Dark, gritty, with the long hair, everything like that. That's the Riddler I want.
Okay, let's not talk about Batman Beyond. We'll get into
how
we need Batman Beyond.
Yeah, absolutely.
I need Batman Beyond in my life. Okay, so next film is Wonder Woman.
2017, right?
Yes.
Wonder Woman is interesting. I mean, as long as like I mean, of course, the whole running gag on this whole thing is that Gal Gadot, I actually think it's her name. She said it, but whatever. Gal Gadot is a model, and we've known this. I mean, obviously for a long time. She doesn't necessarily look how Wonder Woman looks, and she's a model. She's not an actress, but if with the right screenwriters, with the right director, you can make it happen. Wonder Woman is actually, I want her to be. She's sort of like a very just like a quiet person. She's supposed to be reserved and regal, like a queen.
Yes.
She's a princess. So as long as you bring something like that, she's reserved, she's regal, she's quiet, and she can be a badass when she has to be. It's a pretty easy role to actually really do. You don't need to make it about so much dialogue and so much. It's more about the emotion. That's what she's always said to me. So I just want to see Ares. So yeah, put that in. It'd be a pretty good movie.
Yeah. So the only thing I know her from, and I don't know if that is actually her first film, was the most recent Fast and Furious. And obviously they saw something in her.
Right.
Fast and Furious is not so demanding. At least I don't think so. But I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So it's not so demanding for, especially her part, because she wasn't really a main character. She was a part of the core group, but she wasn't a main character. But obviously they saw something in her.
Yeah.
And then now Zack Snyder sees something in her again. And the producers obviously see something in her. So she obviously has something to bring to the table other than just a pretty face. And
Yeah.
so I'm excited for it. I think she could do it. I just have hope. I have hope, and I'm for this. I'm for this. Obviously, like I said many times already, is that they see something in her. So I hope that she can bring it.
I will say that where they're placing that movie is perfect. I think Suicide Squad is I would have switched the two. I would have wanted Wonder Woman right after Dawn of Justice, but I do like that they're doing it. Right after this Wonder Woman, you're getting another Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. and that whole throwing Suicide Squad is quite a curveball.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay, so next up will be the same year. Be Justice League Part 1.
Wow. I don't know.
This is a tough one.
I'm so excited. Like I said, my most anticipated movie doesn't have to be comic book, whatever but even though it is Batman v Superman.
Mm-hmm.
I've been waiting for this movie in particular since I was a kid. So I don't know, Justice League, I'm still really skeptical about it because again, it worries me that they're trying to play catch up with Marvel.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the thing that worries me about it. So I mean, I know they have a plan. I know they're going in hard, which they need to do. But you really have to. If you just kind of made a live-action version of any of the animated series Justice League or even any of those movies, I'd be fine with that. Doom, War, whatever. Those are perfect. Perfect examples of how Justice League has to be. It has to be high stakes. It has to be the team, struggling. I mean, they're like extremely powerful beings, So the key here is going to be putting in a struggle both mentally, physically, and emotionally. You have to have all those elements to Justice League. That's the only way it's going to work. Whereas, Avengers is much more like it's high-octane action and it's fun and it's an adventure, This has to be a story. So as long as they approach it as a story like Christopher Nolan did with Dark Knight, I'm not saying it has to be that dark, but it has to be a story. So, and obviously this is going to be split into two, so...
Yeah, so that's what got me too, is that they're calling this Justice League Part 1.
Yeah.
It's not just the Justice League.
Yeah.
And then the other one's Part 2. This is actually split in half. So there has to be something that big that could carry on later on. So I'm excited for that. And we do need a Justice League movie. We've been needing that for a while. And I don't know if this is too soon. I don't know if it's too soon to make a Justice League movie with what we have there. But, so that's why it feels like they're playing catcher, because they are, in a sense, rushing it. Marvel had time to actually do one film per core member, and this one is kind of just like, okay, you saw Superman, now you see Batman fight Superman, with sprinkles of a bunch of people, a bunch of things, and then we got Suicide Squad, which is kind of this other thing, unless they make it very strange, which could be the Justice League versus Suicide Squad, which I never really thought of until right now. I wouldn't want that, but hopefully it's not what they're going
Yeah,
for.
I was thinking about as far as like who's the Justice League going to be and who are they going to face off with, because we're getting introduced to Lex. We're going to be introduced to some character from Wonder Woman.
Yes.
So it could be Ares. Ares is strong enough to take on the whole Justice League. and then you're gonna have the whole Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have 3 kind of really major different movies to bring you some villains. And rumor is that they want to bring Brainiac in. I think it's too soon. I think that is your Ultron. I think that needs to be Justice League 2, not Part 2. But Justice League 2 needs to be Brainiac because you need these guys strong and you need to be like a whole cohesive team. I think they're gonna still be kind of at heads in Justice League. That's what I hope to see. Because how are you gonna have this Batman gonna want to be part of the Justice League? Batman Dark Knight Returns was not part of the Justice League. He was by himself. He was retired. He was done. So it's going to be interesting, this dynamic. I do think we're going to have Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, Cyborg, and Flash. I think that will be our Justice League.
Interesting. It's interesting to see through Flash in there already.
Yeah, because I think right after that is... What's after Justice League?
Oh, no, we got... yes, actually, you're right.
And Aquaman.
Right. After Aquaman.
Yeah, it'll be Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Flash, and Aquaman. I think that's going to be your 6. You have to have at least 6 or 7 for Justice League, so I think that'll be your 6.
Yeah, there'll be a nice little intro for Flash. It's like they'll put Flash in. I guess they have high hopes for Flash, and then people are gonna be excited, and that's like, oh, by the way, right after we got the Flash movie.
Yeah.
So, but that sounds good. I don't know if I do want to see a head-to-head because we did see that in the Avengers in a sense.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know. Would they feel like they have to do it? Would they feel like they're copying Marvel?
Because I mean, I don't want to see Lex taken down by Justice League. I mean, this has to be the long run. Jesse Eisenberg is young. Like, I want to see him in Man of Steel 2 in 2021 or whatever it's going to be. So, yeah, I mean, they picked their villains carefully. Suicide Squad for that, or more likely, I kind of want to see him take on someone like Ares, someone kind of dispensable,
Yeah, and he could always come back because he is a god. Okay, so moving on. The next one in 2018 will be The Flash, which you already called. Okay, so I'm actually quite excited about this. If I remember his name was Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller. I like him. The first time I was introduced to him was Californication. I am a Californication fan. So I saw him in Californication. He was quirky. He was cool. And then I saw him Perseverance Wallflower. And I liked his character. It's just everything that I've seen him in. I just really like him. And I could see that. I could see he's kind of, edgy, is what I could say without using other words. So I like him. And I think it could be fun. I wonder which rendition of Flash is going to be.
Right.
And, yeah, actually, I have hopes for this.
So, yeah, that's the thing I was going to ask you about, because I haven't seen any of his work, But I heard that in both those Californication and Wallflower, he was more, like, nonchalant.
Yeah, he was pretty... He was pretty
like
bland.
edgy and smooth.
But he was clever. You did see the cleverness.
So he's clever, witty. So that is really interesting because like I said before, I wanted Flash to be their answer to all these people who are complaining about the whole no jokes. Flash, Barry Allen is really, he's charming and he's funny and he's Spider-Man for the DC universe.
Yes.
I think this might be like Wally West, Flash, or something like that, like a different incarnation of Flash. Although I want to see Barry Allen, but we have that in the TV show, and that's a perfect example of how Barry Allen should be. So that kind of leads me to believe this might be Wally West. He looks a little bit more how Wally West would look anyway. He doesn't have the blonde hair, and I don't think he needs to dye his hair even if he wants to play Barry Allen. So I'm giving him a proper suit. I always said the CW Flash looks like a Halloween costume Flash. So I want to see good effects, good costume, and an interesting villain.
It is a bigger budget, so they could work on the costume and they could play around with it.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Should be good.
So the next film, same year, 2018, will be Aquaman.
Okay.
Your thoughts on Aquaman?
So it's interesting because both of these are two main members of the league.
Yes.
So there's no Batman movie, there's no Superman movie, which is opposite what Marvel's doing. Usually they've had like a really, Iron Man and someone smaller like Thor. Captain America and the smaller Guardians of the Galaxy. They want to have like a tent pole, and then they want to have something kind of smaller on the side, So this is something that DC is confident for this whole year. You're not getting Batman. You're not getting Superman. You're not getting Wonder Woman. You're going to get Flash and Aquaman.
Yes.
So I like it. I really like it. I think that combination together is really interesting as well. And I have like no thoughts on Aquaman. I think that Momoa obviously looks like a badass. He's interested in filmmaking as well, and I always appreciate that when actors want to kind of get the whole range. So as long as that movie can go so wrong in so many ways.
Okay. Very
but,
easily.
Yeah. If they treat it with the utmost respect, I love the politics behind Aquaman. Then it could be really really badass.
Yeah, I see Aquaman as a Thor. because I just rewatched Thor recently. So it is the other world, even though it is still on Earth. It's underwater. So it is like the Thor.
Yeah.
You know, Thor is even though it's far away, like they have a doorway that would just lead them right there. So same with Aquaman. He is underwater, which is somewhat far away, but it's easy to get there. So Thor has this grand like story, which could of course stand on its own because it's quite a story, and this could be well with an origin story. Obviously.
That's another good point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So and then from there, Momoa. I am a Game of Thrones watcher, and he is awesome. I love him, and he's memorable. Like people actually still talk about him. They still remember him. Spoilers for Game of Thrones. If you don't want to hear it, skip 4 seconds. So he's still talked about even now that he's gone. But yes, he made quite an impact, and Momoa could actually do this. He could do this. I see him. We need that hardcore guy, especially to be Aquaman.
Yeah,
because,
like I mentioned before, I want to see the Aquaman. I can't remember which storyline it is. It's like some of that line, something like that, where he has long hair and he has the long beard and he has
talking about
So I just want to say, I want to see him introducing Justice League, and he's kind of a little bit more clean, proper, and something goes really wrong there. Where now in Aquaman he's struggling and now he's fighting sharks and he's fighting these like krakens and all this other thing where he gets his arm cut off. So like how you can't do that in a comic book movie, similar to Man of Steel when they broke that guy's neck, Zod. So I want to see that Aquaman.
Yeah, and they're actually allowing this to be dark, which I really like. I'm very happy about this. So they could do that, and they could do it well.
Yes. Okay,
so next up, 2019, we got Shazam. We'll actually give that to you, because you have a lot of deep thoughts about Shazam.
Yeah. I mean, again, it bugs me that New Line Cinema is doing this. I was totally for Shazam being in Justice League, because I wanted to see a Kingdom Come at some point, And now this is sketched to me, unless they do an Infinite Crisis on Earth, then you can have the 2 dimensions, and New Line Cinema is supposed to be like a different dimension. I hear that they're giving another movie to Blue Ribbon something in Warner Brothers. It's another superhero, but I can't remember which one it is. So, I don't know, there's something weird kind of going on there. It's like and obviously the director came out and said, no, this is going to be fun, this is going to be an action, and I'm thinking Green Lantern.
Yeah.
So, of course Green Lantern.
Hopefully it's not talking about
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not too content with this. I don't know. This is the one movie I'll say that I'm not looking forward to out of this whole slate.
Yeah, I got happy when I started hearing all the things about The Rock, and now finally that it came out, and then hearing about New Line Cinema. So that's kind of scary, just thinking about how they have this really awesome character, and they're just like, we'll place him over here, as if they don't have confidence.
Right, yeah.
Like, I think that Shazam could be cool, could be fun. Just thinking about a kid being super, like this could get, you could like, a bunch of kids could like this. And I guess that's what they want to do. They want to pull it away.
That's one thing at first I didn't want to see. I can't forget Shazam's
his alter ego.
Yes,
kid.
I can't remember, but the one. But
we'll call him the kid.
Yeah, the kid. Because I put it out of my mind. I think of him as Shazam, even though I forget his name. But anyway, I didn't want him at all. I just wanted to be Shazam, But I think that this is, like what you just said, I think this is their answer. This could be a PG, I mean, obviously they're all going to be PG-13, but this could be like a PG. This could be a PG-13 movie. I think that they're going to focus on the kid version of Shazam and stuff, as opposed to this whole universe. So
this is them selling toys?
This is them selling toys and bringing in the family.
Yes, I can say that. Okay, so next up, on 2019 as well, in the actually in the middle of 2019, it'll be Justice League Part 2. So this will be a Part 2 of Justice League. Now this is where I wonder, will it be a Part 3? Like, is it going to be a huge story? Or, because they didn't talk about it. Or is this going to be the end of the 1 and 2 chapter? So this one, now they introduce more characters, and now they can really bring it. They can really start just going crazy with it.
Yeah.
If the first one was them butting heads, this one's like, okay, we have to get together and fight Brainiac. Or
Lego Brainiac.
Doomsday.
Okay.
Yeah, Lego Brainiac.
Doomsday. Yeah. There's another one I said for a long time, Doomsday will be in the cinematic universe. Yeah, you're right. yeah, I think that we will see all these guys. You know, they might kind of switch in and out at some point. Like Aquaman said, like, yeah, I'm gonna come here, fight for a little bit, and I have to go back to Atlantis. Someone, you know, someone just kind of wrecked the city. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I think this is Justice League 1. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna call it. This is Justice League 1. I think this is just their answer. Now, I mean, they're doing Avengers 1 and 2.
Yes.
So they're gonna make like $2 billion in the span of like a year and a half, and they're gonna have the filming done by 2018.
Yes.
So they're being money smart. Like, it's funny because I mean, people are kind of bagging on this whole thing, but you don't realize that what Marvel has done in this past decade, DC is gonna do it in 4 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a lot.
That's crazy. Yeah. So
taken.
there. I mean, like I said, with Batman v Superman, if it's extremely well, I mean, people are going to be rushing to both. But now, I mean, by that point, I mean, it could go anywhere.
Yeah. So that's just League Part 2. Next up on 2020, we got Cyborg. Okay, so this is a good intro because honestly, I don't know much about Cyborg. So it's nice. The only thing I know about Cyborg is mainly, because I do see him sprinkled in other places, but mainly I know him from Teen Titans. So seeing Cyborg become Cyborg, already has become Cyborg, and now we just get an origin and probably, you know, skipping in time and then see him grow up. There's just a lot they could do with Cyborg, and it's cool. It's cool that they actually go along with it, and we're gonna get to every core member. So Cyborg would be a good intro for me, and by this time, hopefully I'm already sucked in, and I'm like, I want to know everything about everyone.
Yeah.
So I'm cool for Cyborg the movie. Your thoughts?
Yeah, at first I wasn't for it. Way prior to even casting this because I'm a big like Justice League, you know, like old school purist. So I want to see Martian Manhunter. That's what I want to see, and he's only been on the team since like the New 52. And so I'm okay with it because I love Cyborg, and I even love the Teen Titans even more than that. So I'm okay with it. But like I said, I wanted to see Martian Manhunter. So I'm glad they're doing a Cyborg movie because that is their hardest movie, I think, to sell. Yes. Because no one knows who Cyborg is besides you know, everyone who's grown up on Teen Titans, and I'm not talking about the show. I'm talking about the old school Teen Titans. So, I mean, like I said, I want to see Teen Titans. So if it's possible that this movie could kind of lead to Cyborg, I mean, obviously he's extremely capable and he's extremely intelligent, and he could be kind of the force that pulls the Teen Titans together. So that'd be interesting.
You could just say it's like, okay, I've dealt with this giant thing. I think I could handle my own. So that's cool. And like I said, by then, you will know if you're for the DC universe or not.
Yes. Yeah.
So because of this, we have Cyborg the movie, and then next up we got Green Lantern in 2020 as well. See, so like I said, by then you should already know what you want to do, and if you're for DC and Marvel, or for just DC.
Because exactly. There's, I mean, I don't believe there, you know, like I don't think we believe that there should be any sort of split, you know, with the fan base and stuff like that. We're fans of both, you know. Even if you don't like DC movies and you want to say just Marvel, that's fine, but you don't have to bag on the right. But the problem here is that again, you're gonna have like 4 or 5 comic book movies a year.
Yes, that's a lot of movies.
Sony, Fox, Marvel, and now DC's in the ring. So that's 4 studios. They're trying to pull 2 movies a year for a studio. So you can have from anywhere from 3 to 6 comic movies a year now. So, you know, the general movie going audience only goes like 1 or 2 movies a year. You know, 3 movies maybe the top. So yeah, it's kind of tricky with the money. So you bring up a good point, you know, but. Moving along, you know, Green Lantern. You know, I will say with Cyborg that they have to throw in Booyah like at least once in his movie. So yeah, with Green Lantern, I want to see Jon Stewart.
Yeah, Jon Stewart would be nice.
Yeah, I've never even been a fan of Hal Jordan. Really, I always thought he was kind of a little bit too, like, you know, just kind of cocky, arrogant. I mean, I know people like him for that reason, but I've always loved Jon Stewart. He speaks wisdom, and he speaks like. That maturity, like kind of like almost like a grandfather figure, kind of strange. But he's also badass. You know, that's the thing about him. And I want to see. We said before when you introduced me to Luther, you know, I want to see Idris Elba as him. Also say the guy from 12 Years a Slave. I forget his name, but yeah, him or Jahan Su, the guy who was in Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, the guy who first, found Star-Lord. I want to see like someone like them, someone like that, their caliber to do John Stewart for Green Lantern. Other than that, not too excited for Green Lantern, but I do think he'll have a cameo in Justice League Part 2.
Yeah, okay. So, obviously this is enough time for us to stop looking at the older Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern. So, I agree with you. Because we have this mature universe already, this dark universe. And I agree with you with casting Idris Elba. And, yeah, it's just... By then, again, we should know what we want. And I'm for that. I like that. And I do have hope for all of this. I do think it will go well, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that they focus on... There's like 9 different Lantern Corps. You know, I only... Primarily, the main interesting stories are obviously with Green and Yellow. But you can do... If you just kind of keep Green Lantern up there in space, that can be... The Lantern Corps is your answer to the Nova Corps if Marvel ever decides to do it. And if you set it up now, there's so much potential there.
Yeah, they could do so much with that. Like, especially the latest comics. I don't want to talk about that much because then we'll go forever. We're talking about the White Lantern and the Black. It's just there's so many things we can touch, and the whole universe that we could go through. It's just there's just so much to do there. That could be its own Justice League.
I just saw it right now. That is your introduction to Brainiac, is in Green Lantern.
Wow.
Yeah. You have him, at the very end of the movie, flying out space, and he comes across a craft that was built by Kryptonian armor and Kryptonian, debris that was there, and then you see the signal from Brainiac that he's coming. Justice League 2.
Yes.
Yeah. So that'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
So that's our thoughts for.
Yeah, so that's pretty much our wrap up for the this whole film rundown that had to be split into 2 parts because we wanted to really talk in depth about Marvel, where they're going, and DC, where they're going. Obviously, you can tell we're extremely excited. There's a lot of more content there, so keep it locked. Goodbye, Delhi, and we'll keep you guys covered with all this news.